Hey everyone, welcome to Kempner Canucks. My name is RevTrev, and today I'm talking about a very controversial topic, one that most people don't want to talk about, but can we just have a conversation? Because this could be a possibility about Elias Pettersson. The question I want to pose today is, will the Canucks trade Elias Pettersson before his trade clause kicks in? Can we just be mature about it and just have a conversation? Some of you are going to walk into this video and you're going to already be triggered. You're going to be angry. You're going to be, and I've been in some of those conversations with people. I've seen people hashtag don't have brain cells or whatever they say. Canuck fans who don't have brain cells. The idea, the audacity of even suggesting that Elias Pettersson could be traded is just, they say, it's asinine. There's no possibility. Anyone who's considering this is a total fool, right? But here's the thing. There were multiple reports before he signed his large contract at the trade deadline that there was discussions going on between the Vancouver Canucks and the Carolina Hurricanes for a deal involving Pettersson. Yes, you heard it right. In fact, I've already made a video on this from the past, from that date. You can just scroll back on you'll see a picture of Pettersson and a Carolina logo in the back with red. It's a red logo. Okay, listen, check it out. Check it out, because that is something that was being reported, and it's not just rumors. You're talking about some of the best and most trusted people in the business talking about that possibility. I think that's something you have to consider. And if you're honest about Pettersson, maybe trading him might be in the best interest of the Vancouver Canucks. Maybe not. Maybe not. Probably not. But it all depends on what you could get. If the Canucks are frustrated with him. Because if we're honest, and we're just having a conversation, everyone, okay? And you know that I have been a little bit nervous about Pettersson from the beginning. I love his elite skills and his talent. He's done a lot of great and special things for this club already. In fact, we want to talk about the 102-point season, which was amazing. Last year, I thought he had not a great season. He had two major slumps, and he did not play great in the playoffs. And he still ended up with 89 points. 89 points is a phenomenal year, right? By most standards. But when we were looking at a guy who's not driving the play, there is a lot of concerns. And the criticisms of Pettersson are, in my opinion, they seem to be valid. Small guy, always falling. His hits are thrusting back into the player. He's using that to his advantage. I can understand if the rest of the NHL gets super annoyed with that, but I mean, that's what he has to do. I am concerned that, he's improved in his hitting, but his scoring declined. His eliteness declined in the playoffs in this season. That bothers me a lot. I'm just wondering if this is a realistic possibility that the Vancouver Canucks would consider trading Elias Pettersson before that no trade clause kicks in. Come on, the criticisms of Pettersson are valid, right? And everyone's going to say, well, he was injured. He was injured. And that controversy alone is worth the conversation. Let's talk about the injury controversy for a moment, because when everyone else in the year-end press conference was saying, you know what, I'm not talking about my injuries. They're not making excuses for their season. Pettersson was the guy who said, yeah, I've been injured since January. Now, that seemed, if we're reading between the lines, Talkett, Allvin did not appreciate that. In fact, they started saying, well, he wasn't injured enough to play. And I saw an interview with Frank Cervelli. He's really onto this right now too, because he said that was like the 15th worst concern of all the injuries that were happening on the Vancouver Canucks. Most of the guys never said anything, but Pettersson's like, yeah, I'm injured. And then you're hearing comments like saying, we need more Saskatchewan and less Stockholm. And is that a valid point? I think it's worth having the conversation. And the Vancouver Canucks were so close to making the Eastern Finals. If Elias Pettersson was elite, if he was elite, we would have won that series. And I know I don't want to put it all on him, but listen, when you don't have the guy who just got the biggest payday in Canucks franchise history, does not produce at a level of eliteness, I'm sorry, but teams are depending on you. And this is what I've been saying from day one. From day one about this contract is, if you're going to sign a big contract like this, and I don't care what market you're in, but especially a Canadian market like Vancouver, if you get paid, and I have no problem if players get paid the big bucks, but you better produce. You better produce, or I'm telling you, those fans that loved you to start are going to turn on you. They are going to turn on you. I'm telling you right now, Canuck fans are sick and tired of people making huge money with little production. You should see how much people are losing their minds about Mikheyev right now. How much they've lost their minds about Louis Eriksson, about Mark Messier. Like, we're talking a history of this, everyone. A history of this. And so is trading Pettersson a possibility? You better believe that if there's two guys that have the guts to make a move like this, it's got to be Rutherford and Allvin. They've got to do what's best for this team. And the criticisms of Pettersson are there, right? They are there. Is this guy a championship dude? Is this a guy that's going to lead you to a Stanley Cup? Because that's all that matters when it comes to this franchise. They're not hoping, hey, I hope we make the playoffs for the next 6 years in a row. No. And here's the thing about this. This is what bothered me about the contract negotiations. It seemed like the moment he signed this, he started to decline. Now, it wasn't the moment, but once he signed this, he didn't get better, everyone. Usually that's the weight that comes off. And that didn't change at all. That didn't change at all. It was so strange to see him not play any better. Now, some people are like, well, he was injured. Okay. Well, what about the other slumps during the year? Was he injured during then too? He never saw a doctor. He never saw a doctor during the playoffs. If you're injured, that might be a good idea. I'm no doctor, okay? Here's the other thing that drives me nuts. Is Pettersson was trying to hold the Vancouver Canucks ransom for his play, or for his desire for a larger contract. He's like, I don't really want to play on a team that isn't competing and contending for competing in playoffs and contending for cups. And I know that everyone would say that internally, maybe in their minds, maybe to their teammates. But at the end of the day, you're the one, Petey, that said you wanted to play on contender. So guess what? You got onto a contender. The Vancouver Canucks were this close to making the Eastern Conference Finals and possibly making it to the finals and possibly winning the Stanley Cup. And the reason why, one of the major reasons why we did not succeed is because of you. It's because of you. If you want the big bucks, you got to have the big expectations. You better produce. And I'm no longer protecting Petey. There's so many people that want to just protect Pettersson because you know what? He hasn't done himself any favors at all. He hasn't done himself any favors. In fact, I think these criticisms can be very, very, very valid. I shouldn't have said very so many times. Is Pettersson worth the money? See, when his contract is over, what will people say about Petey and his $11.6 million contract times 8 years? What are they going to say? He's going to put up some points. There's no doubt about it, right? But it bothers me that we're paying this guy the most. You should be the best player on our team. The guys that get paid the most on teams play the best almost always, right? I mean, Huberdeau might be the only exception to the rule. But like McDavid, best player on the ice. That's most nights he's the best player on the ice. You're talking, I mean, you can say anyone. Crosby, you can say McKinnon, whatever, Matthews, best player on the ice, most nights he is, okay? Guess what? This year, how many times can you say Pettersson was the best player on the ice? I'm telling you, Quinn Hughes was the best player on the ice compared to him. JT Miller was better than Pettersson this season. And he just got paid $11.6 million. Man, if I was Hughes, I'd be a little bit ticked. Just saying, everyone, I'd be a little ticked. It's frustrating. It's frustrating watching this guy. And just because I'm frustrated doesn't mean that we're going to trade him, but they have a possibility to trade him now, everyone. Is there a possibility that trading Pettersson? Absolutely. Absolutely, there's a possibility. If a team comes in with the right offer before that kicks in, absolutely they would consider it. They would consider it. Now, I got a whole bunch of people in here. This is a live stream that's going on. If you're watching this later, whatever you're doing, please take a moment to hit the like and subscribe, okay? To hit the like and subscribe because I love doing Canucks content that's passionate, realistic, and honest. So I'm taking a realistic take, an honest take, a passionate take on this Pettersson potential trade. And hit that like and subscribe, people. Follow me on Facebook, X, Instagram, excuse me, and YouTube. Still getting over this sickness. And just a reminder, everyone, that I've been pumping out a ton of content. Okay, and so I just want to show you a couple of things that I did a massive video on the UFA and RFAs, who are going to keep, who are not. You know that I'm the guy who wants to sign Zadorov big time. I did a video on Nashis if he's necessary, we should trade him. If Hronek's going to move, I talked about the mess of Mikheyev. Okay, and then I just did a video on so many holes to fill and talked about all these holes that we need to fill, what this team's looking like right now. But let's talk about this trading Pettersson potential. Okay? Let's talk about this trading Pettersson potential. I want to talk about this right now, and I want you to post in the comments, whether you're watching this later or you're watching it right now live. If Petey is traded, where could he go, and who would you like to get in return? Now, obviously, the Carolina Hurricanes is definitely a potential. Nashis is a guy that's already been in that room. I think it was Nashis, a first-round pick, Kotkaniemi, and someone else. There was a prospect or someone else. I think that was the original talk about Vancouver and them. Like, that's what the deal was. And see, if you trade Pettersson and you remove that 11.6, you can sign people like Zadorov, Lindholm, Hronek, all these people back because you'll have the money sitting there able to do those things. Joshua, are we better moving forward with them than keeping him? Now, some people are like, man, you trade Pettersson and it's like trading Crosby away. It's trading like Patrick Kane away in his prime. He's going to be going his prime. If Pettersson produces, you should not trade him at all. I'm just not convinced he's going to produce at this stage. Now, he has all the potential to do that. But people are getting sick of his antics, of his arrogance, and his lack of production. That the people are already tired of it, and it just has started, everyone. So let's talk about if he's traded, where could he go, and who would you like to get in return? Now, I've talked about this a few times in my live streams, is I want to see a guy who can play in the playoffs. Like a guy like Matthew Tkachuk, who's not going to get traded, okay? But a guy like that. Someone who could make a difference in the regular season, in the playoffs. That's one thing I love about JT Miller. He plays playoff hockey in game 1 all the way to game 82, and then he gets to playoffs and he continues to play at playoff hockey. That's the kind of hockey he likes. So a Matthew Tkachuk guy. So speaking of Matthew Tkachuk, I've been talking about Brady Tkachuk. Now you lose the point production, but you get the effort, the passion, he can score. He can score. He does everything you want as a captain. Sometimes he loses his cool too much, but Brady Tkachuk could help this team big time. Big time, everyone. That is definitely, in my opinion, someone that I would be considering and targeting. Now, I have not checked his contract. Thinking about that, I should check that out. Let's see if I can go to his contract. So go to teams, Ottawa. Sorry, I should have had this up. Okay. So Brady Tkachuk is making $8.2 million for the next 4 years before he becomes an UFA. He's 24 years old. I would really consider doing that deal, everyone. I would really consider that. The other one, and this is where Leaf fans and Canuck fans are going to lose their minds, is what about Marner? What about Mitch Marner? People say, well, if you want someone who doesn't play well in the playoffs, go get Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner is an incredibly talented player who plays extremely well in the regular season. I understand. Sometimes you just need a change of scenery. Maybe Mitch in Vancouver so you're saving yourselves $1 million, okay? You're saving yourselves $1 million. But I mean, let's go and let me just quickly come up with what he would be making. I think he's 10.6, if I'm correct. He's 10.9 million and is a UFA after this season. Wow. Those are two huge names, everyone, because the Nashus, the Kakanemi, I in first round, I don't like that deal. Like, honestly, I don't love that deal. But maybe to save yourself some cap, maybe you do the Carolina deal. Or do you trade with Ottawa and try to get Brady Tkachuk? Or do you do the most controversial one and go Mitch Marner? I'd love to hear what you have to say. I'm going to go to some comments now. And I can understand. If you don't agree about trading Pettersson, post it in the comments. I'm happy to know that as well. And tell me why. I mean, this idea that he's just going to miraculously be awesome, I'm not sure. Callum was the first guy here, said, we trade Petey and becomes a 200-point second coming of Gretzky-type player. Tread softly here. But if we are changing our culture to talkie hockey, Pettersson is not hard to play against, right? Good point. Good point. Mike's here. He says, trade Pettersson for sure. Trade him for sure. He became a third-line center these playoffs, making 11.6. He wasn't making 11.6 in this playoffs. He was making $8 million. But he's making 11.6 coming up. Kind of suspect of him. A lot of people are there. Mike continues and says the guy never said he was injured to the team. Never saw a doctor in the playoffs. He saw one before the playoffs and is already using injuries as an excuse. Did this rumor just start circulating? No. Dingback, I went back and talked about there was a significant conversation that the Canucks had with Carolina right before before he signed, right before the trade deadline. I mean, I can see the Canucks dumping him in pursuit of a more balanced cap with OEL buyout hit impending. Yeah, that's true. What? It's not a rumor. It came out of Pettersson's mouth. What are you talking about? Are you talking about the injury? Because if it's the rumor, he hasn't talked about the trade. Not talking about the injury, the trade rumors. Okay. If anyone has the stones to trade Petey, it's Rutherford. I agree with that statement. Trade rumors were expected. There's not no trade clause for 1 year of the deal. For year one of the deal. Okay, I didn't know that. Let me just confirm that. How can I confirm that? Can I go to Cap Friendly and confirm that? Go to Canucks. Just need to find this out. Okay, so Pettersson. Wow, this is a long trade, everyone. Excuse me. Here's the thing. Pettersson's 6'2". He's only 176 pounds. Everyone's saying he needs Pettersson's salary is $14.5 million, and his cap hit is $11.6 for the 2024-2025 season. His salary is comprised of blah, 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 blah. Where is the trade clause here? It doesn't say. Doesn't say. I didn't know that it was a 14.5 million salary for this season. That's wild. That's wild. So he gets paid 14.5 million salary for the first 2 years. Yeah, the first year of his contract. You're correct. Let me show you this, everyone. Let me show you. This is interesting. Thank you so much, by the way, for showing this or for sharing this, because, oh man, all these stupid ads. Okay. Oh, look at they just keep coming up. Okay. So look at this right here. 24-25 clause. There is no clause. He can get traded in this first year, everyone. He can get traded in this first year. Then there's a no movement clause after that for his contract. This is wild. If you look to the right, total salary is 14.5 for the first 2 years, 11 million in that third, 14.45 in 27-28, and then goes 12.25, 8.7, 8.7, 8.7. So it's front loaded, but the cap hit, as you can see down the middle, man, this is a $92.8 million contract over 8 years. This is so interesting, if you ask me. Dingbat, we need players who have better looking genetics than Petey, long and thin. But yeah, I know, man. I know. Jack, criticism is 100% valid, but a trade. Okay, bud, come on, guys. We're smarter than this. And you know what? I understand what you're saying. It would be foolish to trade him. It might not be, depending on who you could get in return. No disrespect to our doctors, but our medical team seems to be dropping the ball on letting players recover properly. I don't know the answer to that question. I'm not sure. I can't comment on that. Liam, this is what I'm talking about. Kachuk for Petey, straight up. I'm open to that. I'm bringing the heat because I think it's something to talk about gravely. Like, obviously, I have talked from day one that I would trade Pettersson for Bedard in a heartbeat. Chicago would never do that. Bedard is going to be the next best player in this league. He is dynamic, special, even though he's a bit smaller. What you see in Bedard already is what I would love. I would trade Bedard for Petey in a heartbeat, and you being a Blackhawks fan, there's no way you would do that, right? There's no way. When you watch Petey, you don't want him compared to Bedard. Something interesting about Petey is most players play their best season during their contract year, but the 2 bad years for Petey were contract years. I think he gets in his own head. And Jack, that's a great point. Here's the other thing that I wanted to talk about in regarding that is, like, why aren't you playing better that way? It's why did the Vancouver Canucks need to sign? Wouldn't have it been in their best interest for him to slump like he did? It was like he got affected that there was contract negotiations. You know what maybe affected Pettersson? Why he didn't play as well is because he almost got traded, or not almost. There was conversations about him getting traded. They probably said, listen, if you don't want to sign here, that's fine. That's fine. But we're going to move you. We're not going to get stuck like what's his name from Calgary, Johnny Gaudreau. We're not getting stuck in that. We're going to move you. And it probably hurt the ego, right? It probably destroyed the ego and said, not destroyed, but hurt the ego and said, hey, this could be real. We could be gone. I could be gone. Now, Pettersson said, this is a place I wanted to stay. This is a place I wanted to play. I mean, if you're from Sweden, you want to play for the Vancouver Canucks. Most great Swedes, minus like Forsberg, right, played here. Vancouver is Sweden, everyone. How many Canucks jerseys are in Sweden right now? Probably the most. The most. Just saying. So it's a good point you raised, Jack. Package deal for either Brady Tkachuk or some blockbuster to unite the Hughes bros in Vancouver. I would do that in a heartbeat. Jack Hughes? I would do Jack Hughes or Petey straight up. I would. But getting Luke and Jack, let's do it. That would be the only nuclear option that I could stomach, Dingbat. Right? No, I mean, Callum, if we think about it. So I've talked about Brady Tkachuk. I know most people wouldn't be in charge. I wouldn't be happy about the Marner deal. If you want to just move the contract to sign players and just keep this core together, then you do the Carolina deal. But if you're talking Bedard, if you're talking the Hughes brothers, do that deal, everyone. Remember the Sedin's effort in Game 7 finals, Linden's effort in Game 7 final. I see Petey in the Sedin category. I think the Twins were amazing, guys. I don't think we lost the Stanley Cup finals because of the Twins. Those guys were super talented and awesome. They were stronger. They are way stronger than Pettersson will ever be. Those guys were solid. I don't know. But I understand what you're saying. Linden he's been our best captain, and it's not close. Petey, Hronek, Höglander for Hughes brothers. I'd do that deal. I'd do that deal. And I love Höglander. Maybe, Jack, I have no problem if I'm wrong. I'm not even saying we should trade him, okay? I'm not saying we should trade him. Can we trade him? Would we trade him? And if we do, I'm telling you, this fan base is going to be shocked. All you guys, I had a Pettersson jersey. I sold it because I thought, well, there's two reasons. I was trying to go to an NFL game, and I needed the money. But I also did not think Pettersson was going to resign. I'm done with doing jerseys where guys don't sign long-term. So I shouldn't have sold that jersey, but I did. And now, even now, I'm like, I don't know if I was going to get a Vancouver jersey right now with names, numbers, Pettersson's not in my top 4 jerseys I want. He might not even be in my top 5 jerseys I want. I want JT Miller. I want Quinn Hughes. If Zadorov signs, I'm getting a Zadorov jersey for sure. I'd get a Demko jersey over him. I might even get a Brock Bet. No. I think that's where it ends. That's where it ends. I mean, that's where we're at. This is supposed to be your best player, the guy who just got the biggest thing. So yeah, I don't know if I'll laugh at this video. I think that Petey is better than Jack Hughes, even? No, come on. No way, brother. No way. You know what? Brothers work well in Vancouver. Listen, here's the other thing, Dingbat and Jeevan. I just want to go back to this for a second. There is a real possibility when Quinn Hughes' contract's done, he's going to New Jersey. He's going to want to play with his brothers. So just think of it that way. Think of it that way. Like the Courtnall brothers, like the Sedin brothers, like I agree, Jeevan. Look at the line mates he played with, but even when he played on the Lotto line, he didn't look great. So you're right. Mikheyev was terrible. Höglander was okay for him. Okay. Suter he played with. They even moved Brock Besser back down to him. He did not play good with Brock Besser. This season he was not good, but you're right. He needed a better line mate. Then they put Lindholm on his line. Listen, Lindholm is not a winger. He's a center. Pettersson's a center. So, yeah, you're right. They didn't give him any. Yeah, he didn't get anything there. Petey needs to replace his PlayStation 5 with a bench press, right? There, you guys are agreeing now. And I think he needs a girlfriend. Yeah, I know, Ryan. Nobody wants to talk about the Marner deal. I know that everyone's upset about that. I get it, everyone. Marner's the biggest chat on the planet. Okay. Brady, Marner, Crosby. That's what Toymaker's saying. Horrible culture edition Marner would be. I knew this was going to stir it up. I knew it was going to stir it. I don't want Toronto's filth. Marner's on his last deal. Hey, Japan 4, good to have you here. Allvin does like Kakimanemi for some reason. Interesting. Japan 4 jumps in and says, I'm okay with getting rid of Petey for Tkachuk. I think everyone is a bit mad seeing the Oilers one game away from the final. That should be us. It should be us, Toymaker. It should be us. And I think one of the main reasons it's not is because of Pettersson. People are so quick to criticize. Petey played so well in the first half season. Then, in January, he had 14 goals. Him and Reinhart had the most goals in the NHL in 1 month. And yes, recency bias. Come on, it's $11.6 million. And it's not just, you know what? He didn't play well after that. Let's get rid of him. It's because look at what he did in the playoffs. Is this the kind of guy you want going forward? If his contract hasn't even kicked in, yes, give him some time. I've given him time. At the end of the day, that's Ryan. I'm so glad that you're here. But let me just tell you my pet peeve of this statement. Give him some time. Then don't give him the big contract. Because if he's a player who's needing some time to produce, then don't give him 11.6. I'm sorry, give him 8. Give him 9. But when you give someone 11.6, enough with the excuses. Stop protecting Petey, going, oh, my little baby. No, he's a man. He's a man, and he needs to produce. That's a lot of money. This is crazy amounts of money. This is Matthews money, McDavid money. Like, you're in the top echelon. You should be producing no matter what. Roberto comes in, says Petey for Barzal and Romanov and a first. Barzal's older. He's older. I don't like that deal, but I like the creativity of the deal. If you're looking just to move some money, yeah, that'd be good. B-Dog comes in and says Pettersson will be fine. Peter Forsberg was built strong. Petey is wired. Yeah, wiry and thin. Yes. Well, that's interesting. Maybe that was Rutherford's plan to see how well he pans out in the first quarter of next. I mean, he can get traded all the way through next year, everyone. I thought it was that once July 1st kicked in, then his contract kicked in and that happened. But no. Pettersson can be traded, and I think it will be if Lindholm signs. If Lindholm moves on, Pettersson stays. Okay, Robert, I appreciate that. We got a Robert and Roberto here. That's awesome. Or Petey and put Colson for Barzell and Dobson. Jeevan says Petey for Mac. Who's Mac? McDavid? Come on, man. Edmonton would never, ever, ever do that. They would never even do Draisaitl for Pettersson. Liam wants us to trade him quickly. Fans want to compare him to Nylander's contract and not JT's. This is what happens. This is the thing, right? At least Nylander showed up in the playoffs. What did Pettersson do? Bedard at his height is now heavier and stronger than Petey. Yeah, see, Gravely, I know you wouldn't trade Bedard for anyone. I'd trade Bedard for McDavid. But good, you raise a good point. He's probably the next McDavid. Personalized. I asked this with love and respect. Are you nuts? No, I'm not. I'm realistic. I'm honest. I'm passionate. Thank you for asking. Contract year. No, okay. So personalized. Are you nuts? That you're okay with the way he's been playing? You're okay that he gets paid top 5 money in the league and doesn't produce? You're okay with that? And I'm the one who's nuts? Contract year for Myers too. Yeah, we'll talk about that in another day. I think some of us are forgetting Petey is a guy who had an invisible second half of the season and still had 89 points, not 90. Because no one gives JT Miller the credit for a 100-point year when he got 99. It's like, oh, I saw on, what was it, Canucks Army this week. It ticked me off so much that I actually made a comment, and I like those guys, don't get me wrong. He was like, oh, JT Miller with his first 100-point year. Yeah, 2 years ago he had 99. 99. That's 100 minus 1. I mean, he had a 100-point season and 100 and a 99-point season and an 82-point season in between those two. He's too good. He'll figure out. I hope you're right, Jeevan. I really hope you're right. Pettersson's contract extension includes a no full no movement clause. Yeah, no. I just showed it. So his no contract doesn't kick in until after the first season. I am not going to look back at this and laugh. I'm telling you that right now, everyone. I actually think this is a legitimate question that a lot of I'm telling you, there's a lot of fans that are saying we should seriously consider trading Pettersson. I know a lot of people, like I saw Frank Saravelli said he does not see us trading Pettersson at all. And he might be right. A lot of people would be very surprised. I would not be shocked. I would be shocked, but I wouldn't be surprised. Does that make sense? I really think so. I understand. I have no problem if people disagree with the idea. This is a conversation we're having, everyone. Why can't we talk about this? You're not a bad fan if you're wondering, hey, what's best for the Vancouver Canucks going forward? Isn't that what every GM should be talking about with every single team? I'm not mad at you, by the way. I'm just getting passionate. Think about this from a GM's perspective. You got to have the gonads to make tough decisions, everyone. So if Pettersson is not the best move, if management's really ticked off because he was complaining about an injury that he didn't produce in the playoffs, that he struggled since January or more, I think he struggled a good chunk of the year. I know that he scored 89 points, but what I'm saying right now is it's not laughable. It's not foolish as a GM to consider trading a guy with this much talent if you can improve your team and you can win a cup. That's what matters in Vancouver. We want to win a cup. We don't want to just have a bunch of guys that make a lot of money who have star power. No, we want cups. One to start with, and we want multiple cups. That's the plan here. Is Pettersson a guy that's going to lead you to multiple cups to win any cup? That is the real question we need to ask ourselves, everyone. And if it's not, you move them for the best you can get, and you've got a whole year now to do it. You could have changed the nameplate on to Max Lapierre number 40. Hey, welcome. Last year, everyone. No. I agree. Everyone except for me. I've been the guy since day one saying if it's Horvat or JT Miller, we keep JT Miller. Do not trade JT Miller. I did do videos about Marner for Miller, and the Toronto fans hated it, and the Canuck fans hated that offer. I just talked about the possibility. There was no scenario where I ever said JT Miller needs to be traded. That's the kind of guy you want on your team, because that's the kind of guy that wins playoff games. These are the kind of players you want. And this is where JT Miller is outperforming Elias Pettersson, and there's no doubt about that. So yes, you're right. You're right 100%. Everyone wanted JT, not everyone, me. There's a lot of us that did not want to get rid of him. No patience. How do three brothers play in Vancouver? I don't know. Would you, Callum, would you trade Besser and Höglander to keep Petey? No. But yes, I don't know. I guess you'd have to. I'm not the GM, so. It can be argued legally that the no trade clause may not be valid until next season, but it is not null or void. Legally, intention can be argued. Also, no. You can look at that. That is very clear that that's not there. He is not under a no trade clause, bro. You can't. I don't think it can be argued. How could Pettersson neutralize McDavid on his own? Pettersson versus McDavid in his career? What? I don't understand this, Raymond. I'm confused. Let's not get confused. Well, I'm confused. Between Pettersson and McDavid in his career. The problem is, how could Pettersson neutralize McDavid on his own? He can't. Toffoli has chemistry with Petey. But he's slow. They want a winger with speed. So I like Toffoli, but you can't fill your team with Brock Besser speed guys. You have to get quicker. Since we know Petey's no trade clause doesn't kick in until next year, sufficient winger for Petey, and he's still not competing. Trade him at the deadline. We could. What are you going to get though? Sedins were bad in the playoffs early in their careers too. Yep, Jack, you're right. Also, Brady has less points. It's not about just points. I think what Brady Tkachuk brings to the table is awesome. So less points, better production. I mean, I think when Brady Tkachuk makes the playoffs, it's going to be special. But no, he did not. But he's still sitting there. Tampa Bay had 5-star players and the rest hulking wingers and D-men during their Cups. Great strategy. I know. Too bad the playoffs weren't in December and January, right, Liam? We had 6 guys at the All-Star game. Exactly. We have no excuses. 0. Other than Demko getting hurt. That's really what our only excuse. But, I mean, Shelov's was so good, you couldn't even use that as a legit. I agree, Ryan, but when you're going to get paid the bag, you need to put your team on your shoulders and lead your team. Yeah, come on, preach it. Preach it, Japan 4. You can't do a disappearing act, bro. You're right. Gensel would be awesome in Vancouver. I don't know if it would be a great exchange. If you kept Lindholm and had Gensel, I'd be okay with that. No, Matthews does show up in the playoffs, bro. He does. He does. He's elite. Yes, he does, Shane. But if you watch the beginning of this, by the way, welcome. Good to have you. If you watch the beginning of this video, and maybe we actually I'll show you two right here. You can see right here under clause, he's got a no trade. He can be traded in the first year of his contract. So yes, he has a contract, but he can get traded. After this season, he cannot be traded because he has a no movement clause, unless he's okay with that. The only Swedish jersey I want is Forsberg. JJ, but wish Petey can play like him, right? JJ, is it joke? Or is it JJ? I don't know who JJ is. Lindholm is going to be going to Boston, I believe, too. No, it auto-corrected. I meant to say McKinnon. Okay, I don't know. It's so far ago. I don't know what you said. Pettersson can't go. He had an injury. He said, "Yeah, it doesn't matter." I hope you're right, Shane. I'm just not convinced he's going to. Oh boy, I don't think he needs to wake up. He just seems to be. He's saying I'm the one that's being unrealistic, but I think this is a possibility. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's what he said. But watch what the coaches say about it. Watch what Talkett says and Allvin says about it. Listen, watch that part of their conference, their conversation. I don't think they're buying it. You should see what Frank Cervelli says about how injured Pettersson was compared to everyone else, and nobody complained about it. So yeah, he played through it. So did everyone else. Okay, here we go. Roberto, Petey, Hoglander, Podkolzin first, Leckermacki for Bedard. What? I wouldn't do that deal. And I love Bedard. That's just too much, in my opinion. But you might have to overpay. I mean, that reminds you of the Lindros deal. And then Lindros never won a cup. You know what I mean? And then Colorado went and won all the cups. So it's been half a season in his first real postseason. We haven't even entered his contract year yet. Yes, he's been making huge dollars at 7 million he's been making. So Ryan, it's not this. Listen, this also has to do now with 11.6, but he's been making killer money, and he got 102 points. And everyone's like, okay, he needs to sign. We need to sign him. He's going to be a 100-point player every year. Well, he wasn't this year. Before that, did he even get 70 points either year? Like, that was where we were patient with him. Now it's like, you got to produce if you're going to get paid the big bucks. You need to pay good money. Exactly. 200-point seasons, dingbat. That's you. I like that. Last year, you wanted JT, Besser, and Garland. No. I didn't want any of those guys. I mean, Garland maybe, because Garland. I kept saying Besser I thought was going to have a bounce back year. So I didn't want to move Besser or JT, but I did have the conversation. I had the guts to have the conversation that Brock Besser was going to get, what could potentially get moved. Yes, I had that conversation. We need Petey to live with JT Miller so he can smarten up, right? I am wide awake. Petey had a nagging knee injury that continued to worsen as the season and playoffs went on. He had to play through it. Talkett even said there's no room to rest. Give Petey a chance. I think I have given Petey a chance. What I'm saying is, I think it's weird. How everyone gives him a pass. But if this is a trend, personalized, it's not me that's going to be sitting here going, we should have thought about that. We're stuck for 8 years if it's a trend. Some fans don't have patience. All right. I mean, that's a possibility. Sedins were awesome in the other series. What series was Pettersson awesome in this season? 13 games. Tell me what games will he awesome in? Maybe one? If one. I don't even want to say one that he was awesome. He was okay. There were times where he was above average, but he wasn't awesome. Callum, I agree. We have to trust. I mean, we have no other options, but yes. You got to make the right decisions. You're right. But it's more important to make the right decisions at the right time. Okay. And maybe this is the right time. That's why I'm making this video. It could be the right time. Then why was he at the All-Star game and not resting and not speaking? Woo! Japan 4. You know what? I love the beginning of my video, just talking about all the different possibilities, all the things. But I'm thinking that this back and forth and this talking, I think all this is way better. So appreciate each one of you being here. Hey, if you haven't hit that like and subscribe, please do. I love talking about Canuck content. Exactly. Why did he go? Why did he go if he was that injured? Okay. You've had lots of. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Personally, can I just tell you, just as a friend and as a fellow Canucks fan, I want to just very, very clear. I hope you're right. I want to be wrong in this scenario. I want to be wrong here, but I'm concerned at what I'm seeing, and it might be interesting to think about. That could be a possibility. I just don't think Toffoli's coming to all this dream that we're going to get Tanev and Toffoli back. I just don't see it coming, but I'd like to see Toffoli. I wish we got Toffoli at the deadline. How do six brothers all make and play in the NHL? It's insane. It's insane. Yeah, how much does Hart cost, everyone? Look at Japan 4 is coming with the heat. They changed their names to Sutter. Raymond. Pettersson has been the sweetest version of Mike Ribeiro. He doesn't attack the net like McDavid and has not been effective without firing one-timers, especially on the power play. Yeah. No, Raymond's not soft. That's what they're saying about Pettersson is soft. Yeah, hit that like and subscribe, everyone. Appreciate it. I agree that She Loves played really well, but I don't think he has the explosiveness that Demko has. I think Demko is the difference maker. That's why he's in the Vezina conversation. I love Demko, but I think She Loves is our future, and I think you're going to see a switch after a few years that we're going She Loves, but I could be wrong on that, and I'm a huge Demko fan. Huge. I've got 2 of his rookie cards, too. That's pretty fun. Matthews isn't great in the playoffs. Come on, man. Come on. I don't know. I think you guys are too. I think it's honestly. Let's just go back to here for a second. I don't agree with your guys' statements. I actually think these statements are birthed out of a hatred for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Austin Matthews is a superstar. End of story. Anyone who does not believe that Austin Matthews is not a superstar, like I just don't agree with you. I'm sorry. But Austin Matthews is incredible. McDavid is incredible. McKinnon is incredible. Like he's in that thing. He's not. I would rather those other 2 guys. I think Crosby's going to have a way better career. But I'm talking about Ovechkin and like Matthews is on pace to have Ovechkin numbers, everyone. And nobody is going to second guess Ovechkin, but everyone in Vancouver wants to second guess Austin Matthews. I'm telling you right now, I'm a huge believer in Austin Matthews. I think he's very, very good. Vegas had Eichel and Stone, Avalanche had McKinnon and Rantanen. Tampa Bay had Stamkos. You need skill. Stamkos and Kucherov, let's just say that you need skill to win. Canucks need Petey, of course, but he needs to produce. I think JT, Petey, Hughes, and Demko is needed. Well, I mean, we had 3 of the 4. We didn't do it. Yeah, he is a bit of the Tin Man. Where can he buy a heart? Personalized trade Bedard for Petey. She Loves first round pick. I do that. I do and if conditional. Can't. No, there is no we don't have a 2024 pick, right? We don't have one. Even Steve Yzerman played through his playoffs and even won the Stanley Cup playing almost with one knee into. Yeah, right? Dude, you're so right. I mean, that was a different era, but I was banned for calling the Canucks soft, and now you want Pettersson traded because he's soft and not a playoff performer. You didn't get banned in here for calling Pettersson soft. He didn't. Maybe it was a different channel, but not here, Wiggly. You might have been inappropriate in some conversations and might have got timed out, but you're not like you didn't get banned for calling the Canucks soft. And am I saying look at the title of this Will Pettersson get traded? It does not say I want Pettersson traded. What I want, let me clarify this very clear because apparently it's very confusing for people to watch this video. I am not saying we should trade Pettersson, but we might. What I want, being as clear, is that Pettersson lives up to the hype and lives up to the contract and brings us, is a key part of bringing us Stanley Cup victories. That's what I want. If you want to know what I want, that's what I want. But I'm not sure he can. But I do think he's soft. Actually, I wouldn't say he's soft. I would say I think he's strong, tougher than I was anticipating. He's just not the toughest guy. He's never going to be a JT Miller type player, and nor should he be. Pettersson was amazingly awesome against the first and second round this season. He combined for what? Oh, because you're playing PS5. He was awesome in the play. I know. It's. You know what? This is the patience part that I have. I have no patience now that he's getting paid. A regular season superstar, don't mind the Leafs. It's just the truth. Okay, Jeevan, okay. Maybe that's Pettersson is. I don't know. I hope he's better than Marner, but we'll see. Garland, Besser, JT showed the most heart and will in the playoffs. I think you should add Zadorov on there, but you're talking about forwards only. Lafferty, Mikheyev brought their Leafs effort. Okay. I know you don't like the Leafs. Jack, we're both passionate, honest, and realistic Canucks fans, and I completely disagree with a ton of your opinions on this team. That's great, Jack. That is awesome. You do not have to agree with everything or most of the things I say to be a fan of my content, to watch my content. You can disagree with me. We can agree to disagree. I have zero problems with you doing that. In fact, I invite you to have a different opinion than me. I can be wrong. I find that I'm not as wrong as most people would want me to be. But I'm telling you right now, I'm totally cool with you being disagreeing with me. You can completely disagree, and we can agree to disagree. I'm so glad you're here, Jack. But what are you disagreeing about? That Pettersson struggled? That Pettersson's signed a massive deal and he better produce? What about Pettersson are you disagreeing? That there's a possibility he could get traded? Well, why wouldn't you have a no movement clause from the beginning of that contract? Even Allvin and Rutherford, that says something, doesn't it? What have I said about Pettersson that you've disagreed with? Let me know. You want to talk about the rest of the team, that's fine. Let's talk about Pettersson today. Trade Petey for Jack Hughes. Toss in big hug. Yeah, I'm okay with it. I would do that deal. Maybe that's what Jack's upset about is the guys I would trade on. On what I think happened to Petey second half is talking system. I think the system is so restrictive for Petey. Okay, if it is, then we can't keep him here. We couldn't keep Kuzmenko here, even though he's like a scoring machine. If he doesn't fit Talkett's system and you just paid him $11.6 million, what are we going to do, Robert? Jack, yeah, Matthews is good, and he does disappear sometimes in the playoffs. Yeah, I would rather a star player disappear sometimes than what we saw Petey do this playoffs. I agree. You don't trade those type of players unless depends who you get back. It depends on what you get back, bro. And Allvin and Rutherford have the guts to make a big deal. Just saying. I agree that Matthews is a true superstar, but he is more of a regular season super. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not saying Sheila isn't our future. I'm saying that I think we do a lot better in the playoffs this year if we had Demko. I agree. Because our players here are more comfortable. Man, this has been good. The only chance Chicago trades Bedard is if he's saying he will stay in bed and not play. You know what? I think Bedard wants to play in Vancouver one day, but can you imagine sends Hughes on a breakaway goal? Sounds pretty sweet. I agree. We can all speculate trades, but not much will happen that any of us like. Maybe Allvin brings in Kakimemi and he can play the okay. The only realistic chance we have to getting on Bedard is when he's a UFA. That's what I'm saying. I think it's best to just wait and give him until December, January, see if he's producing like his normal self. If he's great, and if he isn't, you know what? It's time. It's time to say. So, Jeevan, you're saying, hey, let's do it. But what I'm saying is this: if you're going to move him, if you're going to eventually move him, now is the time where you're going to get the best bang for your buck. Maybe if he doesn't have a good up to December, January, what are you going to get in return? So we've got 90 people in here today. It's a Saturday morning turned into afternoon here on the West Coast. I'm on Vancouver Island, and it's a cloudy day, but I'm loving that I'm here chatting with you guys about this. I've loved this discussion. I think you're dead wrong with moving Pettersson. Okay, you're entitled to your opinion. That's totally fine. Not just because the playoffs this year. It's the attitude. It's a cancer in the locker room. Dickinson said he was cliquey in his group and his standoffish way. Yeah, I am concerned about a lot of Pettersson. A lot of Pettersson. Not just his play. But you want to keep a guy like that here, that's fine. That's fine. I'm okay with moving him for the right price, everyone. It's just what I'm saying. I didn't quite when Pettersson was taking over a playoff series since bubble playoffs. Canuck playoff game breakers, Kessler 2011 versus Predators, Horvat 2020 versus Blues, Sedin's 2011 versus Sharks. That's a good point. I'm not upset at your opinions at all. I just think it's dumb to trade your number one franchise center, and the no movement clause in the first year is just a contract thing. It's a CBA thing. No chance he's traded. I'm okay that you believe that. The chances of him getting traded are very slim. Very slim. And I'm okay with that. But I think this is a worthwhile conversation. Is it dumb to trade our number one franchise center who isn't even listen, let me just argue that just for 1 second. He's not even our franchise center. JT Miller was better than him this year. JT Miller was better. Pettersson's better the year before that. I'll give you that. But going forward, if Hughes and Miller are better than Pettersson, you shouldn't have paid him the money. And I'm okay to agree to disagree. I also disagree on Zadorov and Lindholm. We can discuss that. Yeah, let's discuss that later. I'd love to, actually. I said, I think you're right. You're dead. You're right. You're dead, not dead wrong. Oh, okay. Sorry. Let me see. Let me see this. I think you're dead on with me. Dead right. Oh, okay. Dead right. Okay. 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 Sorry. You didn't write that properly. So, or I didn't read it properly. My bad. Petey is toxic somewhat, complains about the knee, never sees a doctor. His agent is toxic. However, Petey will turn around. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Excited. I'm hoping you're right. Yes. I watched all of that. In fact, actually, I watched the one with Sekeres and Price. I like the Sekeres and Price one better, to be honest. But if PD does get traded, what's your number one player you want in return from him? We talked about this. Okay, my number one player is Bedard. Okay, hands down, no doubt about it, Bedard. He's not going to come to Vancouver. I would seriously consider trading him for Brady Tkachuk. I would trade him for the Hughes brothers in a heartbeat. I'd be okay with any one of those three trades. It all depends on what we're wanting in return. JT Miller is an all-around better player. Canuck Tony, you're right. Bubble playoffs equals playoffs in the library. Real playoffs equals playoffs in the pressure cooker. Pettersson hasn't taken over a playoff series like Kessler, Sedins, Miller, Horvat. You're right. Swag Juice, good to see you. Petey may be a little soft, but he was doing great playing his system for most of the season. It wasn't until he was injured after the All-Star break he started to fall off. I hope you're right. Hope you're right. I just hope this is not a trend, everyone, what we're seeing. Canucks have 8 centers. To be honest, the team only has one franchise player, and that's Quinn Hughes. JT Miller and Brock Besser are distant seconds. There you go. I'm okay with that statement. Tony, this is my first text. Good day to you. And I was wondering if you and your fan base will still cheer for the Oilers to win Game 6 tomorrow and beyond. I think most of our fan base is hoping that Edmonton wins. Some of our fan base is cheering for Edmonton. I hope that Edmonton wins. I wouldn't say I'm cheering for Edmonton. It's hard to cheer against a team for most of years. Now, the thing is, I actually respect Edmonton a lot. A lot. But I don't know. I found myself cheering for Dallas when they scored and Edmonton for where they scored. So it was kind of weird. It's this weird situation. I know there's a lot of people that are like, you cannot cheer for Edmonton. I'm not one of those guys. I respect them. Hope they do well. I have to end this real soon here, everyone, but I'll just get into the last few comments. So Quinn had some problem in the playoffs because he had the same side as Petey. Should we trade him as well? Nope. The answer is no to that question. We should not trade him. I would take an old Crosby rather than a young Pettersson. So you trade Pettersson for Crosby? I wouldn't do that, but that's okay. You can do that. I expect 120, 140 points out of PD next year with that contract. I don't know. Maybe he might be able to do that. I highly doubt it. But have you seen the projected 2026 ice hockey Olympics? Do you think who do you think wins between USA and Canada based on lineups? Right now it's probably USA, but I still believe in Canada. So I would lean Canada, but I think the favorites would be the US. Yeah, I agree. 110 to 115 would still be Steve Stamkos or Pettersson. Which one would you prefer in playoff and why? I want Stamkos because he produces in the playoffs, but not at this stage of their careers. I want Pettersson going forward compared to Stamkos. Stamkos is at the end of his career. But overall career, Stamkos, and it's not close. Players who want to come to Vancouver, those overseas who do not know about the taxes differences between here and the United States. Vancouver expensive. Need at least $2 million a year to play in Van City. I agree. I think Petey had a bad finish to a season, which could be an injury. Yep. Or a personal problem. I think he will bounce back. I hope you're right. Playoff bud didn't count clearly. You put loud fans in the stands, and Petey would have froze up and called Cass. I called him Petey the Ghost for most of the year. Sound for Soul, good to see you. We need tougher and stronger forwards. See, yeah, Petey is weak physically and more so mentally. Yeah, I know. It seems like that, and that's what worries me. Petey is the number one center. He's not this year. Yeah, you're right. He should be. Edmonton can kick rocks. Okay, contract years are most promising. The hangover year is soon after. Okay, true. I like it. I also think Petey is an awkward guy. Yeah. All right, everyone. I have to go. Wasn't banned, but timed out. Never said anything inappropriate. You guys just got mad. And I've never banned anyone, just so you know. But we've been having conversations on what banning should look like, or timing out, I should say, timing out. So you've talked about wanting to trade Petey in your whole video, not just your title. Now I am not being a hypocrite, bro. I am not. I was very clear with you what I want to happen. I want Pettersson to bounce back and be elite. That's what I want. That's exactly what I want. But if he does not do that, I am totally open to trading him. I am totally open to moving him. So please, Wiggly, understand what this video is about. Please understand. I've clarified twice with you now, but I'm seriously considered trading Pettersson as a possibility. Yes, I am considering that. And I think Allvin and Rutherford should consider it as well and do their due diligence. Chicago will never trade. I agree. I've said that 3 times on this show already today. They will never do that. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Thank you, Japan, for a great show. Yeah, it's been I think this has been one of our better ones in a while. So thanks so much for everyone for being here. You guys are all, whether we agree to disagree, I'm totally cool with that. I love the conversation. I notice in my life, I just enjoy conversations, the banter back and forth. I do really enjoy that. Everyone who's been here, great to have you here. Okay. So just a reminder, before we go, hit the like and subscribe. I've got tons more content coming out. And of course, always, everyone, let's cheer on this team. And I think we're going to have a great year next year. Go Canucks, go.